Hello and welcome to another video. In this video, we will be solving paper 1 of Principle of Accounts, which is of your old version, right? It's 7110, but of course, still relevant for your practice. It's from May, June 2018, and you have about 30 multiple choice questions, and you are given 1 hour to complete this exam. Please note that this is going to be variant 12. So we are solving paper 1, which is multiple choice, but variant 2 of this exam. Let's get started with the questions here. First question is, which statement about a computerized accounting system is correct? So if you read through the statements here, the journal ledger does not include non-current assets accounts, right? So that's actually incorrect. We have to focus on the word correct in this case. So we need to find what's the correct statement for computerized accounting system. It does not make sense why a computerized accounting system or the general ledger, even if it's on computer, will not include non-current assets, right? So what are your non-current assets? Non-current assets are your machinery, plant and equipment, basically property, plant and equipment, right? PPE. So you should know that already. So A is not the correct option. Option B, the income statement always shows profit. That is again incorrect because income statement can show negative or loss, basically, even if it's computerized, right? Because it's not bound. Your profit is not bound by the computer. That's what it means. Statement C or option C, the statement of financial position does not include non-current assets. Again, if A is incorrect, C is automatically incorrect too. So by the process of elimination, we come to option D. So the correct answer to multiple choice 1 is actually option D. The trial balance always balances because that's an advantage of computer. It helps you balance your trial balance. Now the balance can be wrong by itself, but still the trial balance will balance. So the correct option to multiple choice 1 is option D. Let's look at multiple choice 2, which group contains only liabilities? So let's look at which group will contain only liabilities, right? So bank loan, trade payables, prepaid rent. It has 2 liabilities, but 1 asset. Prepaid rent is an asset. It's actually an asset. Current asset, it will be classified as current asset, but there could be a portion of non-current asset to it. Then option B, A is bank overdraft, trade payables, unpaid wages. These are unpaid wages. So it's a liability, company has to pay them. So the correct answer to multiple choice 2 is option B in this case. Let's look at multiple choice 3. What is the accounting equation? So accounting equation, as you know, is basically asset equals to liabilities plus equity, right? So that's your accounting equation, asset equals to liabilities plus equity. So all you need to do is rearrange, either find that exact option or rearrange the equation, right? So if we rearrange the equation, we can clearly see that there's one available, asset minus liabilities equals to capital. So the correct answer to multiple choice 3 is option A. Let's look at multiple choice 4. So multiple choice 4 says Umar returned faulty goods to Yasmin, the supplier. Which document did Umar send to Yasmin? So who is Umar? So first try to understand who is Umar, right? So Umar returned faulty goods to Yasmin. So Yasmin is the supplier. Yasmin has sold goods to Umar, right? So Umar has purchased goods. What document Umar is going to send? If it's a buyer and is returning the goods, then it's a debit note, right? So if a buyer is sending goods back to its supplier or the seller, then the company or the person issues a debit note. So the correct answer to multiple choice 4 is going to be option B. Let's look at multiple choice 5. Jacob settled the account of Ahmed, a credit supplier. He made the following entries on credit side of the cash book. So he has made the following entries on the credit side of the cash book, right? Which entries did Jacob make on the debit side of Ahmed's account, right? So what entries would be on the debit side of Ahmed's account, right? So Jacob was given discount. Jacob received discount, right? Jacob received discount. So this question, if you understand that part, this question becomes very easy. The correct answer to this multiple choice would be option D, because Jacob received discount, right? Jacob received a discount. So bank debit $195 and discount received $5. All right, so the correct answer to multiple choice 5 would be would be option B in this case. Right, so let's look at multiple choice 6. Multiple choice 6 is what may a credit balance on a ledger account represent, right? So it's basically asking, this question is basically asking you, there's a credit balance on ledger account. What does it represent, right? So I will tell you, like, you should be very proficient in the nature of accounts and their balances, right? So if you haven't watched it, I have a video on that specific video on my channel, so you can go and watch that. So assets and expenses, option B and option C, both of them have debit balance. Now you need to understand what is accrued income and prepaid income, right? So accrued income again will have a debit balance, right? So for example, accounts receivable is an example of accrued income, right? So that would again have a debit balance. So option A, B, and C will have a debit balance. So option D ultimately is the correct answer to multiple choice 6. That will represent a credit balance. Income or revenue in general would have a credit balance, but you need to make sure that you have to pay attention to the type of income in this case. So the correct answer to multiple choice 6 would be option B. So let's look at multiple choice 7. The following partly completed account appeared in Edward's sales ledger. Right, so you are looking at Edward, you are looking in Edward's sales ledger. It has an account receivable, and on 29th of April, Anne paid $10,000 by check and was given a cash discount of $200. Which statement is correct on 30th April, right? So let's look at it and try to apply 50-50 option, a process of elimination, right? So we can eliminate 2 options in this case. So the 2 options that we can eliminate is that option C and D, right? Because Edward does not owe any money to Anne. Anne owes money to Edward, right? That's the correct analogy or the process here. So either option A is going to be correct or option B is going to be correct, right? So here it's a very simple math. What you will be doing is you would be deducting some amounts here. So Anne bought $21,500 of goods. She returned $500 of goods to Edward. So 21,500 minus 500 gives you $21,000, right? $21,000, out of which Anne paid for $10,000, right? So the remaining is $11,000, right? So 21,000 minus 10,000 gives you $11,000. Then she received cash discount of $200, so she paid $200 less, right? So there is a remaining balance of $10,800, right? So Anne actually needs to pay $10,800 to Edward. So the correct answer to multiple choice 7 would be option A in this case. Let's look at multiple choice 8. The totals of trial balance did not agree. The total of debit column was 13,400. It was found that the purchases journal had been overcast by $195 and goods bought from supplier X for $85 had been incorrectly credited to Y. Right. So what was the total of credit column of the trial balance in this case? So you need to calculate the correct balance, correct credit column balance. So debit column had a balance of 13,400. Now what was found? Found was that the purchases journal had been overcast by $195 and goods bought from supplier X for $85 had been incorrectly credited to Y. So all you need to do in this case is 13,400 minus $195 will give you the correct balance of the credit column. So in this case, it would be $13,205. So the correct answer to multiple choice 8 is going to be option B. Then multiple choice 9, Leo is unable to pay the debt he owes to Sam, right? So it's a classic bad debt entry. I have a video on that too, which is on provision or allowances. So if that topic is unclear to you, if that topic is specifically unclear to you, you can actually head to my basic financial accounting series where you will be able to find videos on this topic as well, right? So this is a it should not take you more than, a minute to solve this question in the exam if you have practiced enough. So the correct answer to multiple choice 9 in this case would be option B, debit bad debt account, right? So that's an expense, you're doing that, and then credit Leo's account because that's your account receivable. If account receivable is going down, you credit that, right? So the correct answer to multiple choice 9 is going to be option B. Let's look at multiple choice 10. This is again about provision or allowances on accounts receivable. So Rashid maintains a provision for doubtful debts of 5% of the trade receivables at the end of each year. Trade receivables at the end of each year, right? So the year end, if you look at it, the year end of this company is actually 31st March, 31st March, basically, right? The year will change, but it has an year end of 31st March instead of December. But that does not matter in this case right now. So you need to understand, so the question here is asking you which journal entry should Rashid make on 31st March 2018, right? So this is a very simple question. What you need to do is first multiply 40,000 by 5%. First multiply 40,000 by 5%, right? So you will actually get $2,000, right? So that's your provision for doubtful debts for 2017, $2,000. Then at the end of year, Rashid has $46,000 of trade receivables. So 46,000 times 5% will give you $2,300. So the balance actually went up from 2,000 to 2,300. So you have to increase your provision by 300. You have to increase your provision by 300, right? So in this case, the correct answer to multiple choice 10 is going to be option A. You will debit income statement by $300 and credit provision for doubtful debts by $300, all right? Because the provision went up by $300. So there would be more expense in this case. Let's look at multiple choice 11. What are examples of revenue receipts, right? So you need to understand what is a revenue receipt. There are two types of receipts. There are capital receipts, there are revenue receipts, right? So you will need to identify. The question could equally be about capital receipts as well, right? So that could be another, maybe you would see that question might be like in October, November 2018 paper, right? So that's how you analyze papers as well at the same time. So what are examples of revenue receipts, right? So the examples of revenue receipts are something that the income generated from day-to-day business operations, right? So if you look at, so let's look at option 1. So a check received from the sale of non-current assets at book value, right? So that is actually a sale of non-current asset. Most likely it's a capital receipt in this case. A profit made on the sale of non-current assets, right? So that is actually a revenue receipt because it's your profit. It's a profit made on sale of non-current assets. It's not a check received. It's a profit made by selling your non-current assets. A loan from a bank that is repayable in 2020. That is actually I cannot tell you whether it's a current liability or a non-current liability in this case because I do not know the tenure of the whether it's payable in 2 years time or a 1 year time. But this doesn't sound like a capital risk. This doesn't sound like a revenue receipt in this case. It's a loan from bank that is repayable in 2020. Most likely a non-current liability. It's a non-current liability, right? It cannot be classified as a revenue receipt. So just strike out option 3. Then option statement 4 is discount received from credit suppliers for prompt payment, right? So that is a classic example of revenue receipt. So in this case, if you look at it, it's only option 2 and statement 2 and statement 4. So it's option D. So the correct answer to multiple choice 11 is actually option D. Multiple choice 12, John paid $18,000 for machinery on 1st January 2016. He depreciated his asset using the diminishing reducing balance method at 5% per annum. What is the balance in the provision for depreciation account on 1st January 2018? Now, this is a very simple example, very simple question on depreciation. You just need to calculate the provision for depreciation account or the allowance of depreciation or the accumulated depreciation, which is the total depreciation charged from 2016 until 2018. Right? That's what you need to calculate in this case. That's what you need to calculate. If you're worried about this topic, I again have videos on depreciation. You can go ahead and watch that. But for the sake of giving you out the answer, I will give you the answer here. So you can do the maths yourself. All you need to do is multiply $18,000 by 5% for 1 year, then reduce that amount, calculate the carrying value, and then multiply the carrying value by 5%. Do that from 2016 to 2018. Add the depreciation expenses. That will give you the cumulative depreciation expense. But again, I've given you the explanation here. You can head out and watch a video on provision for depreciation on my channel here. It's available there. So the correct answer to this multiple choice is actually option A, 1755 1755 credit, right? So why credit? Because you need to reduce the asset, right? It's asking the balance of provision for depreciation, which is basically in turn that helps company or will help John to reduce the balance of the asset, because that's the whole purpose. It's a contra asset account. Multiple choice 13 as well. It's a very simple question. Should not take you more than a minute or 1.5 minutes in the exam if you have practiced well. Again, I will explain it to you. You can listen to the explanation as many times as possible. But if you're confused on how to calculate the gain and loss of the asset, then you can watch a video on my channel for that too. So let's look at multiple choice 13. A motor vehicle cost $20,000. It was sold for $12,000. At the date of disposal, the motor vehicle had been depreciated by $7,200. Which journal entry records the closing of the disposal account? So there are a few things happening here. The question is asking you the journal entry in this case, which will depend upon whether the company has made a gain on sale or a loss on sale. If it's a loss on sale, then it's an expense, treated as an expense. If it's a gain on sale, then it will be treated as an income. But how do you calculate that gain and loss? It's very simple. All you need to do is take the cost of the asset, deduct the accumulated depreciation. In turn, you will calculate the carrying value of the asset, or the net book value of the asset, right? So in this case, it would be $20,000 minus $7,200, right? So that will give you $12,800. The carrying value of the asset is $12,800 in this case, but the asset was sold for $12,000, right? So you can clearly see that there's a loss of $800,000 of $800 here, right? So you can immediately eliminate option B and option D. So you come down to option A or option C. Now you need to understand how this is working, right? So in option A, it's a credit income statement, which is recording income. It's not a gain, it's a loss. So the correct answer to multiple choice 13 in this case is, of course, option C. Debit income statement, which is an expense, $800, and disposal account, because you are disposing the asset, right? So $800 credit on that. Then let's look at multiple choice 14. A business provided the following information. What was the sales ledger control account balance on 31st March? You know, if you don't know the format of sales ledger control account, just Google it. You will find the format. Just put these numbers into that format, into that account format, and you will get the answer. If you do that right, of course, you will get the right answer. So you can. This question is very easy. Again, not a difficult question at all. The correct answer to multiple choice 14 is actually option A, 1750. So you will get an answer of 1750, right? So you need to just, if you don't know the format of sales ledger control account, just Google it or refer to your notes, refer to your books. You will find that it's not a difficult question at all. Then multiple choice 15. James was late paying an invoice issued by Henry. Henry charged James an interest on overdue amount, right? So James was late paying an invoice issued by Henry. So Henry issued an invoice, right? So who is Henry? Henry is basically the seller and James is basically a buyer. That's what so you have identified the role here. So which entry would be made in Henry's control account, right? So James is an accounts receivable for Henry. Henry is charging him interest, which in turn is increasing accounts receivable. And when accounts receivable are increasing, what happens, right? So it would be debit sales ledger control account, because whenever you want to increase accounts receivable, you debit, right? So the correct answer to multiple choice 15 in this case is going to be option D. Let's look at option 16. So multiple choice 16. Multiple choice 16 is about calculating the cost of sales of carpet department. Right. So Dennis runs a business with two departments, one selling carpets, one selling furniture. So there are two departments selling carpet and furniture. Two departments selling carpet and furniture. We have been given the breakup. Total sales $210,000. 60% are related to carpet department, and the total gross profit is related 54,600. 60% of which is related to furniture department. So pay attention to words here. So $210,000, 60% is about carpet department, right? So $126,000 relates to carpet department. So sales for carpet department are $126,000, right? What is the gross profit for carpet department? That's 40% of 54,600 because 60% relates to furniture department, right? So the other thing you will be doing is the other number that you will be calculating in this case is 54,600 times 40%, because that's what relates to carpet department, right? That will give you a number of 21,840. All you need to do is deduct $126,000. So take $126,000 minus 21,840, and that will give you 104,160. That's the cost of sales for carpet department. So the correct answer to multiple choice 16 is option D in this case, 104,160. Let's look at multiple choice 17, which is an intangible asset. Of course, intangible asset is an goodwill in this case. 17, option B. It should not take you even a minute. It should take you 10 seconds to do this question, multiple choice 17. Let's look at multiple choice 18. A business has no non-current liabilities. What is added to the non-current assets in order to calculate the capital employed, right? So has no non-current liabilities, right? To calculate net capital. So capital employed is basically net assets of the company. What are net assets? Net assets are basically assets minus liabilities in this case, right? So what are you going to add to non-current assets in this case is basically working capital. So the correct answer to multiple choice 18 is again option D. Let's look at multiple choice 9. Alan's inventory consisted of the following. What was the value of inventory, right? So value of inventory, calculating value of inventory. There are two types of inventories. Alan has large t-shirts and small t-shirts. The value is different. You need to take lower of cost or net realizable value. So what is net realizable value in this case? Is basically selling price per unit, right? Because that's for how much you can sell, right? So it would be 100 times 5, which is 500, and 20 times 5, which is 100. 500 plus 100 is basically 600. So, sorry, it would be 20 times 3 because that's lowest. So 500 plus 65. 500 plus 60 will give you the correct answer. Option A would be the correct answer in this case. So 100 times 5 and 20 times 3. 100 times 5 is 500. 20 times 3 is 60. 500 plus 60 is 560, right? So the correct answer in this case would be option A. So multiple choice 19 has answer of option A, right? So that would be the correct answer for multiple choice 9, option A. Multiple choice 20, which item is credited in a partnership's appropriation account? That would be interest on drawings, because that's what partners have drawn, right? So they would be paying interest on drawings. That's an income for partnership appropriation account. So the correct answer to multiple choice 20 is option B in this case. Multiple choice 21, Y and Z formed a partnership, had agreed to share profits equally, so it's going to be equal. Y deposited $30,000 into business bank account. Z introduced a motor vehicle worth $15,000 and goodwill of $15,000. So all of these are assets to partnership. So $30,000 debit, $15,000 debit, $15,000 debit, right? So option A is the correct answer in this case for multiple choice 21 because it's equal. So the total of debit side in this case is 60,000, which has to be shared between partners equally because they share profits equally, right? So $30,000 each for each of the partners Y and Z. And the correct answer to multiple choice 21 is option A, as simple as that. Multiple choice 22, a business provided the following information. What was the percentage markup? So for percentage markup, the formula is you take gross profit over cost of goods sold. You take gross profit over cost of goods sold. So if you look at it, if you look at the question here, they have given you two numbers here, revenue and gross profit. So you can calculate the cost of sales, which would be $80,000, right? Gross profit is given 20,000 over 80,000, which is 25%, right? So 25% is your markup in this case. So the correct answer to multiple choice 22 is actually is option B, 25%. So the correct answer to multiple choice 22 is option B. So multiple choice 23, a trader does not keep a full set of accounting records. How can he calculate credit sales, right? So he needs to calculate credit sales. What are credit sales? Credit sales are sales for which the trader has not received money, right? So in this case, if you just read through the options, it's going to be option C, checks received from customer. That's the money received from the customer, minus owed by customers at start of year plus owed by customers at the end of the year, right? So that's actually the difference between so basically money owed or the credit sales for customers. So the correct answer to multiple choice 23 is option C. Multiple choice 24, which item would be entered in a statement of changes in equity? That is ordinary dividend paid for current year. Again, easy question. 24, option C is the correct answer. Multiple choice 25, on 1st January, ANH Limited was formed with the issue of $200,000 ordinary shares for 50 cents each. During the first year, it made a profit of $21,000, a dividend of basically $0.02 per share was paid. So 21. So if you do 21,000 multiplied by 0.02, that will give you $200,000. Sorry, $200,000 multiplied by 0.02. That will give you $4,000 for dividend paid, right? So the company paid $4,000 in dividend. $21,000 minus $4,000 is $17,000, and that's the total reserves available on 31st December for the company. Of course, $10,000 were transferred to general reserve. It's a very specific category, but the question here is asking you what was the total of reserves which were available, right? So that's $21,000 minus $4,000, and that's $17,000. So option C is correct answer for multiple choice 25. Multiple choice 26. Which type of labor would be classified as direct? That would be factory production workers, right? So 3 only. Option D would be the correct answer to multiple choice 26. Multiple choice 27, again, that's a manufacturing. You just need to follow the formula, and you can calculate the value of closing work in progress by yourself. But for the sake of answers, the correct answer to multiple choice 27 is going to be option C. I'm not solving this question here because it's just following the formula. Just you can, if you don't know the formula, refer to your notes, because I also want to highlight your weak areas. If I solve these questions all, then you may not be able to identify your weak areas as well, right? So if this is one of your weak areas, then you should revise manufacturing accounts in this case. So the correct answer to multiple choice 27 would be option C. Multiple choice 28, which document is used to inform employees of their Social Security, national insurance contributions? That's going to be payslip. It's a detailed document which tells you how many hours you have worked, what is hourly pay, and the total pay contributions made to Social Security and national insurances. All right, so payslip would be the correct answer to multiple choice 28. Multiple choice 29 is about ratio analysis. They have given you, so from 2016 to 2017, they are basically asking you what may have caused the change in the net profit sales ratio, right? So the net profit to sales ratio has gone up by 2%. In other words, what must whereas gross profit to sales ratio has gone down by 10%, but the net profit to sales ratio has gone up by 10%. So what is in between? It's the expenses. Gross profit minus expenses gives you the net profit, right? So net profit over sales has gone up. What has happened? The percentage of sales, the percentage of expense to sales has decreased, right? So the expenses have decreased in this case. The percentage of expenses to sales have decreased. So the correct answer to multiple choice 29 is actually option C. Then multiple choice 30, which again is always about accounting principles. A trader spreads the cost of a machine over the years which benefit from the use of that machine. Which accounting principle is being applied? It's matching accruals, right? So each year's expense, which is basically depreciation, that should be charged to that current year. It's about matching and accruals. So the correct answer to multiple choice 30 is option C. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. share with your friends, subscribe to my channel for more videos like these. You can comment down below if there are any specific topics that you would like me to cover or anything that you would like me to do in future for future videos. And I would very much appreciate that. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you very much.